yes, let's go ahead and interrupt. We're going to talk. I'm sorry, guys. I got to get this microphone up. Hello, this is 1100 WSGI. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and yes, this is one street over. What's going on one street over from where you living? We are living right, living and working in Robertson County. And Tiffany Thomson's in the house. And did you see where Springfield has been named one of the top 9 places to retire in Tennessee?
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, shh. Stop telling everybody.
My hometown was once named the top place in the country to retire. And it changed the whole landscape of our town.
What is your hometown?
Prescott, Arizona. I mean, it was back probably in the 90s. It was named like the top place to retire.
Oh, bless.
And it changed the landscape.
I bet.
So much that it became a medical haven because, you know, when you retire, you have a lot of people that are retired. You have a huge medical need. And so honestly, if you're not a medical professional, it's hard to make a living there as a younger family now.
Is that one of the reasons? I mean, were y'all there when y'all moved from wherever
to
here?
No, so I was born and raised in Arizona. I went to college in Utah, went back to Arizona, went back to Utah.
Gotcha.
That's where I got married and had my kids. And then we came from Utah to Tennessee.
Okay.
So yeah. So I've lived a little bit around, but yeah, and that was one of the reasons we couldn't go back to my parents' hometown is we weren't medical professionals. There wasn't a lot of industry there if you weren't in the medical field. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well, see, and that's the thing. Everybody knows that things are changing around Robertson County, and they're going to continue to change. And it's just, I was talking to a friend of mine last night. And they live in Clarksville. They're both former military and just one of those kind of families.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be you when I grow up. That kind of thing. They're just like buttoned up. They just got it going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, they live in Clarksville. And so we were talking last night about the growth in Clarksville. And her husband made the statement. He goes, there's going to be a time when you're going to leave Nashville and you're not even going to realize you're in Clarksville because it's all going to be this big metropolitan area.
Yeah, it's just going to one town after another. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like it's done with the New York area. You don't really realize, I'm now in Robertson County, and that kind of terrifies me, of the thinking about what's going to happen along the interstate corridors. And if I was in Pleasant View and places like that, thinking about that, I'd be going, ooh, because, to me, that would be more of a place to develop even than Springfield because we're not right on I think that's what's kind of saved Springfield from being just exploding is the fact, like, White House is like right there, and we're not right on the interstate. And of course, Ron Martin's going to be in here and he'll probably be like, look at the other side of that. And I get that. But in the same sense, I think that does give us a bit of a buffer that we're 10 minutes off the interstate, but that's really nothing.
Not when it comes to affordability. Most families are willing to do that. But we heard from the hospital COO at Kiwanis yesterday, and he said that they're putting an emergency room right off the interstate in Pleasant View.
And so Pleasant View. I thought you were going to say White House.
In Pleasant View also. So yeah, I think they are going to start building up along, and that's what happened. That's where we moved from in Utah, to go from Salt Lake City to where we were in what was a rural county. Mm-hmm. It just became one long city.
Yeah.
There was no difference except for there was no industry in the town that I lived in. So everybody had to commute to Salt Lake. What I love about Springfield is we do have industry here. We've got factories and we've got
stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff. Really I feel like that's what's going to save us from becoming like my hometown where you have to be it's just to retire and medical professionals, and from the town that I moved from because we have industry here. So I have bright hopes for the future.
I do too. I absolutely do as well. But I did notice, I didn't mean to get off on that. We're already like 7 minutes in and we need to be talking stuff baby court. Because Ryan's going to be popping in here in just a minute.
Yeah, Ryan's probably got a lot more to say than I do about it.
I do have to say, all your friends, fabulous. So you look fabulous. You have dropped so much weight. You're getting so fit and taking good care of yourself. You know, I got to shout out. Way to go, sister. You look wonderful.
Thank you. I was talking to my daughter this morning when I was doing her hair about, she's 11 and kind of getting into that, like, caring about her hygiene stuff, which is good. And so I said something about her washing her hair, and she was like, well, I don't want greasy hair. And I said, you know what I love is that you already realize that you have to take care of you. Yeah. And that's just something that, like, you know, as women, oftentimes we're taking care of everybody else, but nobody's coming to save you.
That's right.
You have to take care of
yourself.
Yeah.
So. For sure. I love it. And your youngest is 11?
Yeah.
When did that happen? I've known you a while.
I know.
She was just babies.
I know. She was 5 when we moved here. So, yeah. Man. Yeah, she's 11. That's she's crazy. Getting so big.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this is Tiffany Thomson. And if you've, you know, she got here with CASA. And then she came in here and was with United Way. And then she's now working. You work for the city?
I know. I work for juvenile court. Yeah, the county juvenile court.
But it's called Safe Baby Court. And I was so surprised when you said you're having a graduation.
Yes.
We do that in recovery court, but I never thought about it from Safe Baby Court. So unpack that for me. What do they go through to be able to be eligible for graduation?
So one of the things that's a little bit different than a recovery court. Recovery court's got different levels and steps that you gotta pass through to graduate. Safe Baby Court, every single plan is individualized for the family. Okay. So we don't have like a set steps. Every family has their own goals, and it's just how it has to be when you're working with families, because every family's got different needs and different things that are bringing them into the system. You know, with recovery court, it's all substance, you know, dependency and stuff like that. And not that that's not a huge factor in Safe Baby Court, but there's usually a lot of other factors too. And so basically when a family comes in, they have to have 3 evaluations. They have to have a drug and alcohol evaluation. They have to have a mental health evaluation. They have to have a parenting evaluation.
Okay.
And the child also has to have special evaluations, because any child that's been deemed abused and neglected has obviously got special needs. So those evaluations have to be done, and then as a team, we have we wrap a child and family team around each family, and so they've got on their child and family team, they can bring any support people that they want, but we've got all their attorneys. We have Open Door. We have the DCS. We've got just anybody else that's really involved. We've also had therapists on the child and family team. Just anybody that's really helping this family kind of helps wrap around them. And as a team, we create a plan for them. What is your plan going to look like? And so and when they complete that plan and the child is home and they're safe and everything's good, then they get to...
Sorry, my phone went off. I'm having tech issues this morning, guys.
Oh my God, sorry,
Major
we can
tech
dance.
Issues
I'm always up for a dance break.
Sorry.
So
anyway.
So when they complete that and the family is stable and safe and great, then they get to graduate. And so that we're having our very first Safe Baby Court graduation. And I can't go into a lot of details about this family, but just to see where they've come from and where they're at now. This particular family had just moved to Tennessee when everything happened. And so I really wanted this case because I knew they weren't connected. They didn't know about Open Door. They didn't know about what mental health services. They didn't know where they could go for help. And along this way, we've been able to have partners like this particular mom was at RCI, Mom's House. And so those in the recovery community know Recovery Community Incorporated. They're an amazing thing. And so it was like Mom's House is a place where moms can go and stay with their children if they have custody of their children at the time. And it's a beautiful, I know you've been there, right? To Mom's House? Or
I've not been, well, yeah, I've been to several, because they're up in, you're talking about, can we say where they are?
They're in Madison.
They're in Madison. I didn't know if we could say the location.
I'm not going to give you the address. But
yeah, because there's a big community there. And have I been to that particular house? I think so. There's several.
I just remember the open house for it. There was like a bus driver, and he was like, LaVern, that was roped Wally. Me into doing this. And I said, oh, okay.
That was Wally. That was Wally, our church, because I was at school when they had the open house.
Okay,
so I had been by the house. I didn't get to go actually in for a tour because I wasn't there when the events were going on because I was in school.
Yeah.
I was teaching. But yeah, y'all got to meet Wally. He's our.
I just
you ought to go to Mexico with him.
Well, I'll go to Mexico with anybody.
He's was on a mission trip and a roadrunner got in the. It's just so funny. I've got great video. He gets stuck. Okay, he gets stuck in a riverbed that he thought was a road because it's all dirt roads, right? And bottoms out. And my friend female Ilda Rockstar, she goes out with her Jeep and pulls him out. They go to pull him out, and he, real security. Locked it, but forgot to roll up the windows, and they get there, and there's a roadrunner in it.
Oh, my God.
We have video, and it's fabulous. But anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. So
hilarious.
we're talking about this wonderful house up in Madison.
Yes.
It's for moms with kids in recovery.
So Lynn, who started the program, she's also in recovery, and she said that her daughter would sneak into her sober living house to be able to be with her mom, and so she knew that we had a need for moms and children to be able to be together, and so. And that's what I've seen. I've actually there have been a few participants that have been at Mom's house, and it's just an amazing, amazing opportunity for these families. So, I mean, like that, and that's why when I sent out an email about it, and I just said, we did this, like, this was a whole community effort for everybody to come together around this family. I mean, for juvenile, I mean, it started back with, Judge Joel Perry and Magistrate Melanie Stark, they went and got a grant to even bring this to our community long before I was even touching it, and they saw the need for moms to be able to have a new start, and and not just moms. There are dads involved, and we love our dads too. I just, because I'm a mom, sometimes I focus a little bit on that, but yes.
Well, and talking about the Mom's house too.
Yeah.
And so, but I what you said about that they didn't know about Open Door. I have somebody that we've been working with in the recovery court, not the recovery court, the Celebrate Recovery community that in Robertson County and was not aware of Open Door. And that blows my mind and really could use the services at Open Door. And so we've been able to connect them and just, I was floored that they didn't know about it. And, talk to Sean. So that's a lot of the times it's just making those connections and connecting the dots for them.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's what we've been able to do for this family. And hopefully what we're trying to do for all the families is just help them create a community for them, because we know connection is the cure, right? Having a community, feeling a part of something. In fact, that's one of the strongest positive childhood experiences that a child can have is to feel connected to their community. And so if you don't get that in childhood, you gotta fix it as soon as you can. And so sometimes that's what we're helping these parents do is connect to their community, connect to other people, connect to somebody that you can call when you need to just say help. Yeah. It's too much.
And we talk about community. That's why we talk so much about getting involved with the congregation and church, because that's a community that you just need so desperately. But a lot of people just don't even know how to begin that journey. And so you can connect them through all these programs. And I just love that y'all are doing this. And how long have y'all been with Safe Baby Court now?
So I started in April of 24.
Okay.
Is when the grant funded, and I was just, they were so trusting and loving and just said, Tiffany, run with it. And so,
that's cool.
So we had our first court hearing for Safe Baby Court last October 24. So, because it took some time to get the program up and running. And so, just about a year in, and we're having our first graduation. So we're super excited.
I love it. Now, if somebody feels like they have somebody that needs the services of Safe Baby Court, what is the process? Because do y'all get to a place where you've got too many things going on? Have you ever gotten there yet? What's the pathway?
I had to have like a very small caseload my first year. that's a requirement of the grant, is I couldn't have over 6. And then, but we've hit our year. So now I could take up to 20 cases, but, they have to come through DCS. So unfortunately it's not something just like, I've had people like, can you come to resource fair? I'm like, I'm not really an open resource. I mean, I am. Tiffany, you can call me anytime and just be like, hey, I need to help this person get connected. I absolutely absolutely am that resource for the community. And we do have our community action team, which is also a resource for the community. And we can talk about that in a second. Safe Baby Court specifically you have to be court involved. And so it comes through DCS. The DCS attorney, when she gets a petition filed by a CPS worker, she will look to see if it meets criteria. She sends it to me. I will look, and then also the family has to, it's voluntarily. Yeah. They have to do it voluntarily. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry. Words are not my friend this morning. They have to do it voluntarily. They cannot be forced to do Safe Baby Court. I have only had like one parent refuse, and that was because they already had a private attorney, and their private attorney didn't really want to deal with it. And so, but most of the time parents are like, extra resources, more like helping me navigate the system. Most of them are willing to do it. It is a little bit harder. I tell them it's a shortcut uphill because we want to get through it faster because kids need permanency. Kids need life to be a little settled, but they have to they go to court every single month. Mm-hmm. They have a child and family team meeting every single month. So a lot of times cases, sometimes they're 2-3 months out in court. Sometimes they have you don't have child and family team meetings every month. You have maybe every 2 months, 3 months, really depends. So it is a little bit more intensive for these families, and they don't get a slide. They don't get to just sit back. And if they're sliding, then we're aware at least that they're sliding, I guess is what I should say, because I can't force people to get sober. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But I don't have that power. So yeah, at least we know they're sliding, so we're on top of it. But
okay. Well, and we got the first graduation coming up. I'm so excited. And that is happening Thursday?
Yeah, tomorrow at 4:00 in the juvenile courtroom. The parents did consent to having it be open to the public. So if anybody wants to come, you're more than welcome to come. As long as you don't take any pictures they do not want pictures posted of them, which is absolutely understandable, or their names mentioned. So I think Stay Positive News is coming, so they're going to cover the event without it, talking about personal stuff. But this family, there was a baby born during this process, and so I just feel extra, love and attachment. I mean, I feel it for actually every single family I work with. I love more than they can even imagine. But yeah, I'm just super excited for this family. They're doing amazing.
We've been having an influx of people at CR that are in some of the recovery homes, and I wonder, we have I need to shut my mouth. But
you're trying to make connections.
Yeah, I'm trying to make connections, and I'm going, but I'm not. And I wouldn't tell names, but I don't need to say any more. But I love how these things connect. I love how these things connect. It's just so beautiful.
It is
so cool. So cool. I love
it. And sometimes I do have a few people that I feel like maybe when they're done with the thing, they would tell their story, and it would be inspiring, but I think a lot of them want to get done with the legal aspect first, which makes 100% sense.
I get that. But I do these stories, guys. I heard a testimony from a woman last night that's just, there's the power in a testimony is just breathtaking, just absolutely breathtaking.
Well, and it's empowering. Even though I may not have walked that same path, when I see somebody take charge of their life and overcome, and whether I've had several parents find Jesus through this whole thing, and just it helps me. It just empowers me. It makes my walk in life feel more doable sometimes.
Yeah. For sure, because my husband and I, we were talking about that last night, because we attend the CR up here at Epiphany on Tuesday nights, and then I help with the leadership on the one at Madison on Wednesday nights. And I said, I think about sometimes, because I'm about to hit my 5th year with it, and you get kind of tired. And I said, but I can't not do it, because if I don't, then I don't see these stories that remind me when I'm feeling sorry for myself and I'm tired to just buck up and keep going, man. Because, there are so many people who have overcome things that I can't even fathom, and they inspire me. they inspire me to get over and that's not to say our stuff isn't, isn't significant. I'm not making light of the struggles we all go through, but in the grand scheme of things,
I don't have it that bad.
Yeah. There you go.
I was telling something about it the other day, though. I was like, I have to remember, though, that's like saying I have stage 1 cancer, so I'm not going to fight it because somebody else is going through stage 4 cancer.
That's true.
Absolutely, we're going to fight it. We're still going to do it. But sometimes you're like, really okay, I need to also realize where I'm at.
It keeps it in perspective, though. I think it really does, and it just the power in the testimony and seeing what the Lord can do when you let Him. If you just, let go and just so many things where I've just completely let go of stuff and things have not gone the way I really had wanted or planned, and they were so much better. This wasn't what I planned and it wasn't what I wanted at the time, but I'm like, oh yeah, now that I'm here, this is great. Thanks, Dad, for knowing more than me. And so we're talking with Tiffany Thomson. If you want to know more about Safe Baby Court, how can they get in touch with you? I mean, because is there any chance that somebody's going to be in court and they're not going to know about you that could use you? Does that make sense? Because it's got to come through the courts.
I absolutely think the more people are aware of Safe Baby Court, what we do, how it's going to be more impactful. Like people are going to find me that need to find me. And that's been my prayer since the beginning. Please send me the families that need me. But where there's also other aspects, like I said, like I am a great resource to resources. I know how to help navigate people. So that's always available to everybody.
Right.
And also we have a community action team, which is comprised of all sorts of professionals in the community. And we get together once a quarter and we talk about what do littles need in this community? Because we know that the more impactful we are at the beginning of a child's life, the less they're going to need later in life, right? So if we can help navigate an early childhood situation, we're not going to need as many dollars for the prisons, and we're not going to need as many dollars for mental health services and addiction services on this end. So anybody who cares about prevention in general, you really need to care about starting with infants. And so I run those once a quarter, and we have people from occupational therapy, attorneys, therapists, school system. We all come together and we sit and we talk and we eat lunch and we usually there's like a little training or something and we talk about resources available. So please come be a part of that. I'll come back on before we have the next one because it's not till February. We just had our one for the winter, so we'll do one in February. But absolutely come be part of that. And the more people are part of that, the more voices are going to come out and we're going to know what's really going on. Like our last community action team meeting, I saw this agency in the corner talking amongst themselves. And I said, no, that's not what we do here. I said, we all want to hear what you have to say. We all want your voice. And what they said just blessed that meeting so much because we were talking about mental health of mothers. And if we can help mothers postpartum, then we help that child and we help the family and we help the generations, right? And that is a huge problem that we have is postpartum depression among women. And that can last for longer. I mean, we think postpartum is a few months after the baby's born. Sometimes that can last years. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, how do we help moms feel connected to a community when their whole community has just changed because they had a baby? So before they were, maybe they had friends and they had these things that they did. And now all of a sudden, they've got a child to care for and maybe they're not going back to work or maybe they are, but so now they're just stressed out between taking care of a baby and working. And anyway, how do we help these parents feel connected? We want dads too, but dads, it's sometimes a little bit easier. They're not as, especially if you're nursing, you're tied to that baby. And anyway, so it was just great. So everybody who has a voice, we want to hear your voice. If you can't come to the quarterly meetings because they're at lunch, please email me and I'll get you on our email list. That's something new I'm going to start doing is sending out what we talk about in those meetings to everybody who wants to be part of it that can't. And then we can also have like a side meeting through email. So my email address is Thomson. So T for Tiffany, Thomson. There's no P in my last name. Thomson @RC for Robertson County Courts with an S.com. So TThompson@rccourts.com. If you email me, I'll get you on the email list if you want to be part of anything or just even want to know where to help plug in with these littles. Like I said, my resources are available. My knowledge resources available to everybody. My ability to help pay for things is, grant
with the grant and stuff like that. So, and if you want to, we're expecting Ryan to pop in here in a minute. I haven't heard from him, but he always just shows up. So I'm assuming he'll be in here. But since he's not here yet, let me ask you about this.
Okay.
You're still involved with Generations Next?
I am.
Mayor Vogel brought this in.
Okay.
So give me an update on this. He told me what he knew, but what can you tell me about so you've gotten a grant, right?
We have not got a grant. We have applied for a grant.
Okay. He thought that you had gotten the grant, but it's like got to be matching.
No. Okay. Yeah. So we've applied for a grant, but if it's a FEMA grant, and FEMA begged us to apply for it. So we haven't got it, but we think we're gonna get it, and we hired a grant writer that has worked on FEMA grants before. So we're not just our limited abilities. So, so what this is we have some land from the Vesper Village project. So it's just on the backside of Brantford where we,
So you've got the land then? They're going to let you have the land if you get the grant?
I don't know exactly where we're at in all that process.
That was a question that came up. There was a bunch of questions that came up about this. And the FEMA part of it, guys, is because the facility is going to be used as a storm shelter, but they're going to use it for other things. But it's, they're being able to pay for it and get this grant because it's going to be a storm shelter, right?
Yes. So Pierre was trying to figure out how we could we wanted to do a sports facility, right? An indoor sports facility. We live in Tennessee. It just makes sense. He is a first responder. He's a firefighter at the Smyrna airport. And so he was like, I wonder if there's any money out there. Yeah. And so he went and he found a FEMA grant that'll help us get a safe room. And and the stipulations are it has to be in an area with a certain income level. It has to be in an area that's had a tornado recently. And we just checked all the boxes. Sure. And most of the homes in the Brantford area do not have any type of storm shelter. So it hit every box for the FEMA grant. So what it is 75-25. So they would pay for 75% of the storm shelter part of it. This grant can't be used to buy the basketballs or all that stuff.
Sure.
So, but it will cover 75%, 25% we will need to fundraise. And then we want to take this. And so that will kind of be the gym part, the sports part, because it's just a cement building. Then we want to add on a childcare facility. Yes, we want to add on basketball courts. We want to add on all these other things so that it's not just an empty building sitting there waiting for a storm. It is a community center where people already feel connected to and are using it and facilitate, So yeah, that is a really exciting project that we've been working on for a very long time, to be completely honest. It's one of those things that Pierre and I are very much let's just get it done kind of people. Yeah. And we have other people that help us slow down a little bit. And so, so this is going to be a very long multi-phase project, but it's going to really bless our community.
I'm excited about it. When Mayor brought this in yesterday, I was like, well, I know. I told him, I said, well, Tiffany's coming in tomorrow. And I said, after I get a baby court update, I said, I will ask her about this because we had, we talked in general terms about it, but he didn't know a lot about it. And he didn't mention that y'all wanted to do the daycare. He was just saying you wanted to make it a community center. I'm like, well, there's the daycare thing. And honestly, I said that was a big driving factor in this, is trying to find, more affordable daycare. So
yes, absolutely.
So this is a cool project.
If I'm touching it, then it probably has a daycare component to it.
I love it.
That's obviously positive childhood experiences. I want children to be able to be going to childcare in a safe and loving environment.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's kind of an update. But I can get those people on here and we can talk more about it if you want. But they announced it to the county commission meeting on Monday. Yeah, Monday night. And so it was. I went and Pierre did a really good job explaining what we want to do, what we're doing, and anyway, we're just here trying to make our community a better place.
Well, and y'all both of you are just amazing people, and again, I just watch you and I go, I talked about my friend that I heard last night. I want to be you when I grow up. I want to be you and Pierre when I grow up because, I mean, it's a goal. You see people, y'all inspire me, and y'all are so busy and so involved in the community, and we appreciate so much what you do.
Well,
thank you.
I love it. I love this community. So
love you, sister.
Thank you, LaVern.
Just good to see you, and congratulations on the graduation. And
everybody come
tomorrow 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Come to my house on Black Friday because we'll have a Thanksgiving throwdown. And
is that what you guys do on Black Friday? We're going to North Carolina this year.
Oh,
my sister moved to North Carolina. She's my closest family. It's so exciting to me because we've been out here kind of by ourselves. But my brother-in-law works for Duke, and so there
you go. Fun family time. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, love you, friend. Tell your family hello, and you can tell Ryan to make his way on in. And while he's doing that, I will talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty, as we always do, because they're our longest running full-time sponsor, and we love them dearly. And we just want to remind you, to get out and talk to them. If you've got any kind of concerns about real estate, whatever it is, if you want to just stay in the know about properties that are coming available, you need to be on their mailing list. I get emails from, I'm not looking to buy property right now. I'm interested in if something comes available that connects to my land, then I would like to get some road frontage sometime up on the top of the hill because, one of my kids is thinking about possibly building up there. Well, and again, that's kind of like, maybe sort of, but if you're somebody that is really looking for a home and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm thinking about selling, you can call them and you can get on their email list, their listings, to where they'll send you things that are in your area. Maybe you're just wanting to do some comparison and say, okay, that property is similar to mine. This is what mine looks like. That's what mine should be worth. Now, they'll do a free market analysis for you to let you know what your property value is. So before you put it on the market, you can have an idea of what to ask and what's going to happen. I do see properties from time to time that they'll bring the price down a little bit. And a lot of the times, I'll have conversations with them. A lot of the times, that's where an owner's like, no, this is what I want it listed at, even though they're telling them, you don't need to list it at that. You need to list it at this. And they're like, well, they push, and they end up having to, they know what they're talking about. When Barry and Rebecca tell you, this is a good idea to list it for. If you list it too high, it's not going to get any traction. There's more properties out there than there have been, especially, you get in those moments. For some reason, everybody wants to buy when interest rates are super low. But Barry says it doesn't matter, high interest rates, low interest rates, because if the interest rates are low, then housing prices are higher. If the interest rates go up, housing prices come down. It balances itself out. So it's always a good time to buy, always a great time to talk to Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. You can, of course, connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or robertscounty.com. They specialize in Robertson County properties because they live in Cross Plains. They've been there for 30 years. They're Cross Plainians, but they've got a diverse background. And like me, they're originally from Kentucky. So while they specialize in Robertson County properties, they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. If you want to know more, go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or robertsoncounty.com, or give them a call. Here's Rebecca's number, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Let them know U-Turn sent you. And the always dependable Ryan Martin is in the house. So thankful that you made it in here. I was telling Tiffany, I said, well, I haven't talked to Ryan, but I know he'll be here.
That's right.
So have your ears been burning? Your name's come up a couple of times over the last couple of days.
Oh, my goodness.
Nothing bad.
I'm sure it was terrible.
No, just Mayor Vogel was in here, and he mentioned sidewalks or something. And trying to be ADA compliant or something like that. And it just kind of felt like an open window for me to say, my husband thinks y'all need sidewalks in front of Springfield High School. Because if I don't bring that up, Mark's like, did you remind them that we need a sidewalk in front of Springfield High School? But anyway, I'm just messing with you because he's always after me. Why didn't you ask him this? Why didn't you ask him this?
He needs to provide you a list before I come in on Wednesday.
So, but anyway, so we met that and we talked about it, and he says, well, that might be a question for Ryan or for Dr. Weeks. And then just now we were talking about the fact that Springfield was named one of the ninth best place to retire in Tennessee.
Yeah.
There's an article. And, we were talking about, Tiffany and I were talking about how it's like, it's going to bring more people. And I said, but Ron's going to be like, that's going to bring more people. I don't know. You kind of, because from a city manager perspective, you want it to, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like you've got that, you like the small town feel, but you want to, grow your city. How do you navigate that?
It's tough, and I say this all the time, and that's a good place to start because some people ask me, said, "Are you pro-growth or anti-growth?" And my answer is yes. Right?
Love that.
My answer is yes. I am. I'm both pro-growth and anti-growth. Or is growth good or is growth bad? The answer is yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It really depends. Like yes. I'm born and raised here, so I'm personally invested in the outcome here more so than some, and I want to retain our identity. So I don't want Springfield or Robertson County to turn into Murfreesboro or some of these larger places that would, and we can't, to be honest, we're not going to, right? We'll be realistic. And I will go out on a limb, and I'm not trying to make headlines when I say this, but we've almost approved as much growth as we can approve. We're just not going to be able to grow that much more geographically, right? And so from an infill perspective, what we saw first, before we saw a lot of new development, or simultaneously, we saw a lot of infill. We saw a lot of vacant lots, inside the city being developed and new, or where things had been torn down. And so we've seen a lot of infill. So really, realistically, and that's what I tell folks when they ask, is we're not going to grow that much more. What's been approved is, and we have a comprehensive growth plan that outlines that, right? And says that, and our planning commission has already turned down an opportunity to expand the city that someone brought to them recently because it just didn't make sense to go farther, right, at this time. So it's tough. Growth's a tough subject. It's a really tough subject. It's not. I'm of the opinion, and I'm not saying anybody's wrong for their opinion, but I'm of the opinion that it depends. Do you need your economy to grow? Do you want your economy to grow? Sure, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. Why? Because that keeps your tax burden low for your citizens, right? The more people that are shopping here, that's the lower the property tax rate's going to be because your sales tax revenue is going to be higher. Why does your sales tax revenue matter? Not because government's tax hungry, but because you need police officers, because you need firefighters, because you don't want potholes, right? So that revenue to fund that fire truck, to fund that firefighter, to fund that police officer, to fund that police department, or that crew to fix that pothole, that comes from two places. That revenue primarily comes from two places. It comes from sales tax or property tax. If you close off your economy and you close off, or you turn down commercial growth, right, then you're not going to get the sales tax. So what does that mean? If you want to fix that pothole, your property tax rate has to go up, right, as costs go up. That's just the realistic, again, when I speak, I only speak for what's happening in Springfield. I don't know what happens in the other city or what happens anywhere else. I certainly don't know what happens in Washington, D.C., but I'm telling you the way the city of Springfield operates, and that's the way those things are funded. Now, is there some state gas tax revenue that comes back to help to pay for some streets? Yeah, we get some of that too. Every locality gets some of that state shared gas tax, and we get some state shared sales tax, but primarily your local sources of revenue are going to be sales tax and property tax. And we're very fortunate, LaVern, to lean heavy on our sales tax. Like we're very fortunate to be the economic driver, if you will. And White House has come a long way, but if you look at the sales tax data for Robertson County, the city of Springfield accounts for almost, it used to be about half, now it's about 40% or so, 40 to 45% of Robertson County sales tax revenue.
Oh, wow.
So what happens, what the economic activity in the city, and I'm not saying pat Springfield on the back, we're fortunate in Springfield, and so we recognize that we have that responsibility, right? Because if we approve a new store or restaurant in Springfield, we know that that's also not going to provide money or sales tax revenue for the city of Springfield to fund a police officer, but it's also going to provide sales tax revenue to the county to fund schools. If we close off our economy, we're also closing off the county, and so it's just tough. It's a tough discussion, and we kind of got real serious real fast right there.
Yeah, we did. Well, like I said, your name came up a couple of times in just in the last couple of days, and And it's just it's on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
It's on everybody's mind. Well, as you know, all the new restaurants are opening and different things. We're starting to see everybody's like, oh, we're growing, and then we're starting to see these things open up, and it's like we're looking different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you drive down, 431 past Walmart, it's got a different look now.
Yeah.
You know, because of the things that are growing, and you're just like, wow, you know, this is it's just. Having been here, I didn't grow up here, but I've been here since '92, and wow, it's just amazing. It's amazing, and they are working on the plant now.
They are
They're out there.
Yeah.
They're out there busy, and it's fascinating to watch. So, you know, because we're next door, and so we're watching them get going. So we're excited. So I know y'all are too.
It's
get it going.
You know, we get a lot of folks, and I think people are generally excited about the new commercial growth that we're getting, and to kind of the issue with the commercial growth is you got to have some residential growth or the commercial's not coming, right? And so that's where if you want to grow your commercial economy, you've got to there's got to be the traffic there for the businesses to invest. And so we're seeing a lot of that. A lot of people ask, well, why can't we get a sit-down restaurant? They want to be here, trust me. We've talked to several sit-down restaurants over the last few years, and they want to be here. It's a numbers thing. It's a location thing. And we think there's some opportunities that will open up and we know there are some opportunities that will open up for some sit-down restaurants to be here. I know it hasn't worked at some of the existing locations numbers-wise from what we're told. So, but what we've seen is we've seen a graduation from the fast food to more of the fast casual, like your Zaxby's and Chipotle's and things like that are considered, that are in the industry considered your fast casuals as opposed to your fast food, you know, primary drive-through type scenario. So we're getting there. But you're right. It's one of those things where we want to still be Springfield at the end of the day. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And that's one of the things that we're trying to hold on to. We understand that we're a county seat. We don't get the option not to grow, right? We don't get that option. No county seat in Middle Tennessee has gotten the option not to grow. There's going to be organic growth that takes place because there's only so far that a local government can tell a property owner what to do with their property, right? Exactly. And so when you have vacant commercial property out on Tom Austin Highway that has sat there, that's going to eventually be built commercial, and there's not a thing. Even if the city said we don't want any more growth, you can't stop property that's already vacant commercial property from, and we wouldn't want to, right? We like those options for our residents. Why? Because those options for our residents, if our resident wants to eat at Chipotle, if there's not one in Springfield, they're going to go give money to another city, another county that's going to fund their schools and their police officers. So having those options here allows for our citizens to help keep those dollars local that will go back into our infrastructure and our necessities that we need. You mentioned retirees, and I'll touch that one real quick. I welcome all the retirees. Any retiree that wants to come, I welcome any of those, because those are your best. You know, those are the citizens that you like to recruit and attract. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way towards anybody else, but they don't tax your they don't have an impact on your system very much. They don't have generally don't have kids in schools, right? So you don't have to build schools for those folks. They generally have some money that they're willing to spend, right? So that contributes to your local business owners and your local economy and helps them. And so they just don't have a lot of impact to you. So they're the good kind of really good kind of growth. I mean, that's really. So I was pleased that we were named one of the top places to retire in Tennessee, and I think that's also a product, LaVern, of a shift that we've seen in our local housing market, where there are more retiree-friendly homes being built, right? Okay. And so we've seen that. Okay. We had one of the complaints for years, and I still get it, that we don't have enough retirement housing. We don't have enough, if you don't want a 2-story home, right? If a retiree doesn't want a 2-story, if a retiree doesn't want a 1-acre lot, they have to mow, right? You know what I mean? Like that's the so the townhomes that we've gotten that have enabled retirees to have lower maintenance and a smaller footprint, I think has contributed some to that.
Yeah, for sure. We're talking with Ryan Martin. He is our city manager here in Springfield. They had their mayor and alderman meeting last night. We got off on just all kinds of things there at the first, but Before we lose track again, so what do you need to tell us about the meeting last night?
Yeah. So
I want to. There's other questions I could ask you, but then we'll never get to that. So
and we can, there's plenty we can. There's some highlights we can get to, and if we need more, I can tell more about the meeting. But I can hit the highlights, and those discussions that we were just having. That's what, I mean. We had a lot of business last night at the board meeting. I don't want to take anything away from that.
Yeah.
And we can go through, I could go through 5 rezonings that we had last night, where this one got rezoned from commercial general to commercial services, so somebody could put a dentist office there that was,
Sure.
But is that really what?
Yeah.
What we were talking about is, I think, what people care about.
I do too. I do too, rather than the exact specifics, because you can look those up. If you're wondering what's going on right next door, you can look it up.
It's a little mundane, but we did have some important things happen last night. The first thing we did, Mayor Poole recognized Grace Prowse from Springfield High School with a proclamation honoring her for being she won the state championship for the girls golf in the TSSAA state champion. Incredible. That's only the 3rd state championship in Springfield High School history. The 93 state football champion team, and I think there was a 1989 wrestling champion. If I remember correctly. I don't have it in front of me, so forgive me if I misstate that. So it's a huge deal, huge accomplishment, and that's something that we want to recognize when we have a citizen locally that goes and does something on a state level. And so there was a lot of, I think, her family and folks that were there to support her last night, and our board and Mayor Poole got to honor her for that accomplishment.
Congratulations!
Big deal. Yeah. So a couple things that we did. We did finalize the new sidewalk regulations. You're talking about sidewalks. We did finalize the new sidewalk regulations last night, which will enable our downtown merchants, downtown business owners to have the decorative items, the sandwich board signs, and things like that, as long as they meet ADA compliance and are not in city right of way, where they obstruct, anything. So that's going to help. That's something they wanted.
Yeah, for sure. And I know there was a lot about it, but I'm glad y'all got to it and got it all done.
Yeah, so. The situation I think kind of got miscommunicated, and there was some misunderstanding. And I'm not on Facebook. Yeah. I think I still have an account, but I'm not on Facebook. Yeah. So if anybody ever sends me a Facebook message, I will never get it. So don't bother. Call me at the office. But it's from what I'm told, there was maybe a misunderstanding of what the board was doing and what they weren't doing. But anyway, it got squared away, and our board firmly supports, our entire board, mayor and board of aldermen, supports the downtown businesses and downtown merchants. That's important to our economy, which is in turn important to the Robertson County economy. So what they did was good to clear up those sidewalk regulations. We also authorized some debt issuance last night. None of us are big fans of debt, but this is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, because we the board approved an initial resolution and authorizing the issuance of $6.5 million in bonds for a fire station. So,
oh wow, yeah.
So we have about a $7 million budget. $500,000 of that we funded in cash to get started with the design, and then the bond issuance should take care of the construction cost as well as the fixture, furnitures, and equipment, or furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So that's exciting. We're getting ready to kick that off. We are close to and pretty well have the property lined up. I think there's a couple of things to iron out there, but that should be on, right now we're targeting the South Main area, and we need a fire station in the southern end of the city where a lot of growth is happening. In fact, it's overdue. LaVern, to be honest with you, and nobody wants to hear this, but we were due for a 3rd fire station, I believe, in 2016. Mm-hmm. So that means the 4th fire station is not too far behind.
Not too far behind, right? Because you got behind. Yeah, you got behind a little bit, so you got to catch up. On
top of Station 1 that is very old and outdated. So we've got some things to plan for and confront there in the years to come. But the first thing to tackle right now is Fire Station 3. You mentioned the wastewater treatment plant. We had a groundbreaking for that. They've started on that. That's going to be a long process.
How long are they saying? Because my husband and I, we get out and walk, and we were walking down through, down the road, and I was like, I don't remember how long they said, but what are they?
Almost 3 years.
Okay. Well, honestly, I was saying 4.
Okay.
So I was over shooting it. So 3, I can see that, because it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And some of it, and not all of that is going to be invasive. I mean, for to tell you, so because it's your neighbor, it's not going to be invasive construction. A lot of it is assembly and
sure.
and things that aren't very impactful or invasive to but there is going to be some construction going on. We're excited about the fact that that's going to be a modern process. We've talked about that 1,000 times on this show. A modern process that really gets us into the 21st century. Our previous plant was built in 1984, or as my son calls it, the 1900s. He tells me I was born in the 1900s all the time.
Oh, yes.
Well, technically, I guess you're right, but
Yeah.
but at 1984, so it's old. The plant can't meet the new permit regulations that are coming down from TDEC, and so we've got to build a new plant. I say it all the time because I want to make sure there's no misinformation. We're not building a new plant because of growth. It had nothing to do with growth. We were going to build a new plant whether we never grew or not, right? Or whether we ever grew or did not. So the plant had to be built. Now the plant's being built a little bigger because to accommodate the growth, right? Yeah. We don't want to get in a mess with that. We want to make sure that when people flush the toilet, it has somewhere to go, right? So, but that's exciting. That's a big process, the biggest investment the city has ever made. Unfortunately, those things are really, really expensive. That's been probably, LaVern, one of the chief infrastructure issues in Middle Tennessee for all cities and areas and utility districts is wastewater and building a wastewater treatment plant. I know White House has built one. You can name pretty much any city and they've had to build one. Ours happened to coincide where we didn't have to build one because of growth. We had to build one because ours was at end of life, basically, and couldn't meet the new permit limits because TDEC regulates. When I say TDEC, I'm talking about the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. So the state's version of the EPA. They highly regulate, very strictly regulate what we discharge. That water has to be very clean when it goes back into the creek. So, so that happened. We also adjusted. The board approved on second reading last night residential parking requirements. One of the issues that we've been facing as a city is on-street parking in subdivisions and neighborhoods. So what has happened is, subdivisions that were built in the 80s, the 90s, the roads were a certain width and vehicles were a lot smaller then. And I think we might have talked about this before, but vehicles were a lot smaller. Well, now they're a lot larger. So, I mean, a full-size pickup truck is in 1998 is the size of a small pickup truck today, and a full-size pickup truck's a lot larger than that. So, navigating those issues for neighborhoods and residents that say, hey, we've got to do something. So our traffic committee, we have a great traffic committee that looks at these things, and our planning department has put together, researched what some other areas do, and so the board adopted some new regulations last night that will increase the amount of off-street parking requirements. When we say off-street, I'm talking about driveway space and garages, right? So when you build a new house or redeveloping a lot or whatever the case is, if that your locality does not allow on-street parking, then you need to build the driveway bigger. And I think it's 3 spaces per 2 bedrooms and a half a space for each bedroom over that you have to provide. If on-street parking is allowed, then it's a different number that the builder would need to require. So to try to just alleviate that issue, we've got some that are difficult. We've also increased road widths. So road widths in the 90s weren't the same as what the fire code and what the subdivision regulations require now. Now the standard is 26 foot wide. It wasn't that way. We have some 18 foot wide alleys, some 20 foot wide subdivision roads that were built years ago prior to. So it's just one of those things where as things change as time goes by, is that a massive issue? No, but it's something that we are listening to those concerns from those citizens and working with neighborhoods, working with the HOAs. I know we just worked with our Alderman Traffic Committee, worked with the HOA at Oakland Farms and worked with some residents at Saddlebrook to work on some streets there. And so trying to find something that works for everybody, right?
Yeah, and it is just a huge problem. And my son, one of my boys lives in a community in Mount Juliet that's just house. And right now they've got an undeveloped cul-de-sac that we can park in. Well, they're going to be building houses there. And I told them, I said, where are we all going to park when we come up here? Is there some of these communities will even have parking lots in there, that you can walk around, like a central located parking lot. But I can't imagine. I'm a country girl. I like my park. I don't have to worry about it. But my husband, he's a school teacher, full-time school teacher, but he's also driving a bus route for the schools. And he says, you just can't imagine trying to navigate some of these streets where you've got cars on either side, and then a car's coming at you, and they're not wanting to give the bus the right, like let the bus go first, and it's just, y'all got a challenge.
It is.
It is a challenge.
It's a challenge with, and so trying to identify those issues, and our traffic committee will go and they'll actually examine an area and we've got engineer that looks at it, and they're really good about identifying, okay, well, let's limit parking to one side of the street, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, I mean, some residents are like, well, yeah, what if I have a birthday party, but I have a kid that's 16, I don't have enough room. So where feasible, we try to, still allow on-street parking on one side of the street, but two sides of the street gets really, like you said, really, it's challenging for garbage trucks, challenging for fire trucks, school buses. It gets challenging for, and for residents, right, when your two vehicles meet. So it's a tough, but it's a very, very navigable issue. I always say if we're talking about parking, or if we're talking about dogs, barking dogs or dogs on the loose, if we're talking about those things, then that means things are going pretty well because the lights are on, the water's safe to drink.
Very good point.
You don't
have anything more serious.
We don't have
that.
random, violent crime and things like that. So I'm willing to talk about parking all day long.
I love it. I love it. That's a good way to look at it. But talking with Ryan Martin, what else have you got before we wrap up our time? I know we've got Lee Marie coming in for another full hour of local programming this morning. Just
a couple of quick announcements as we wrap up. So Winter Wonderland opens up November 29th. Yeah. It's going to be open a little bit longer this year. That's some of the feedback that we heard from citizens is they said, we need more time with Winter Wonderland. And Terry Martin said, okay. Yeah. So absolutely. So Winter Wonderland opens up just a little bit earlier this year on November 29th. City offices will be closed next Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. Our Christmas parade is coming up Saturday, December the 6th. That's just in a couple of weeks, I guess, from Saturday, December 6th at 5:30 p.m. So times changed just a little bit, 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, December 6th. We're excited about that. And I do want to make one announcement that I want to thank somebody for their service. Terry Beers, our water and wastewater director, is retiring at the end of this month. He's retiring on December the 1st. He's given 32 and a half years to the city of Springfield. He's a Springfield guy through and through. Yeah. And so I want to give a shout out to him because he's done a lot as the city has had to navigate with the water and wastewater system over the years. Mm-hmm. He's put in a lot of time and sweat and effort, and so that we're all grateful for his service.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Have y'all replaced that position
yet?
It's
open now. It's open now.
So they're taking applications for
That's
it.
Right.
Okay. I've gotten to work with him a couple of times. Just with questions and stuff. It's super nice guy.
Very good guy. Very good man.
So congratulations. Yeah. Enjoy your retirement. So anything else?
That's it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Always. Absolutely. Like I said, the ever dependable Ryan Martin. So thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
Enjoy it. And everybody stay tuned because Lee Marie's coming in here with another full hour of local programming on The Go Show. And don't forget, too, now tomorrow we will be, she wanted me to give, they've got the Christmas tree sock hop. That's coming up on Friday, November 21st. And she had said we could give away a pair of tickets. We'll give those away tomorrow. So we'll give away those sock hop tickets. I just pulled up my phone to see if she had any messages for me, and she does. So just a reminder that the Christmas tree sock hop is happening Friday over at the Well and the Well in the Square. So be sure and come out and join them for that. And we'll give away a pair of sock hop tickets tomorrow. My friend Debbie Keenan is going to be in here tomorrow morning. I haven't talked to her in a while, so it's going to be great to catch up with her. And then, of course, we'll hear from United Way at 7:30. And I hope you'll be here as well. This is 1100 WSGI. Stay tuned for The Ghost Show. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.